Welcome back to the single player world. Today's episode 75, but let me tell you, this is the second episode 75 that I'm doing. We've also gone to episode 74.5, which is actually the episode that was 75. I'll explain. What happened is, things derped up, we didn't get it, we've got a giant tower, so I've unofficially named the episode that didn't exist between these two, 74.5, because of course we can't just go to 76. But in today's episode, I'm going to walk you through what we've done, what we're going to be doing in today, because we're still going to be doing building today. This is episode 76, really, but we're going to ignore that. We're going to keep going. And what happened is, we built this giant tower, and the idea was that we've got a bit more thought behind it than just it being a tower connected to this building. But the idea is that we're trying to connect these two buildings together. We've got this building over here connecting to the next part of the building, which was our tea shop. And I'm actually going to forget about the tea shop if we don't go check it out right now. There were many, many great suggestions. And by the way, thank you very much for the support we've been getting on the channel and the videos recently. It is very, very good to see that you guys are still enjoying these sorts of videos, the builds, the crazy cool things on the city. And the city is really starting to look very, very good. And in fact, I've been doing a few flyovers recently just for myself to see it. And it's really starting to get a really immense scale to it. And that is really good. So coming down in here, we've got the tea shop. Let's go into city story mode. We're a wealthy person living in a wealthy city, come to buy our tea, and we've got a very weird tea shop, got a chandelier in it. All these sorts of little things, I'm hoping maybe just give that little feeling that this is a more wealthy area. That's what we got to go for, and that's what I'm sticking with. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So in here, we've got the tea shop. We've got the things I've finished. We've got some tea leaves up the top there. I've decided the green dye was pretty good. I said that last episode. But the jungle saplings upside down, the reason I did them upside down is just they're not identifiably jungle saplings that way. They're all looking good. I like the way this area is looking. Crates and stuff of little tea sales. Got cups and stuff around the place as well. And that, I think, is looking pretty awesome. I really like the look of the shop. Cozy, warm feeling, and it also looks a little bit weird, like a tea shop. I always find tea shops are weird. I said that last time, and I'll stick to it. Now, over here, this is what we were looking at. I was trying to figure out last episode, which didn't exist, the one that didn't exist. I was trying to figure out how I could make this area here, which I didn't want to be a shop. I wanted this to merge into an eventual bridge over here. How we could get that to work, and I decided taking a tower off the top would look pretty good. And in fact, if you guys want to see what this looked like before I fixed it up in a stream, we put some photos up on Twitter, which was the unofficial 74.5 episode on Twitter, which is, of course, just because the mic is not recorded. Although, right now, in all fairness, I'm not even sure if this is recording, but I'm pretty confident. If you're listening to this right now, it's recorded. But over here, I've decided to add this piece in here, which was going to be pushed backwards. And the whole logic behind that, and I don't have ender pearls, do I? Okay, well, we'll get to that. The whole thought behind that was I didn't want this area up the top here, which is actually a house. I didn't want that to be too small and just look fake. I decided to stick with the story, stick with the theme of the world, that everything in this world is legitimately there. And by the way, this is what this area is looking like. I still got to do stuff in here, but that's what it's looking like right now. And I didn't want anything to just be there for the sake of looking like it's there. I didn't want to have fake empty houses. I think we've seen that too many times. You know, we want to do our thing the right way. Fill in interiors, fill in the can I get that? Yep. Fill in the houses, and me making this, which originally would have been a bit too skinny. Over here, you can see this. This would have been a bit too narrow if I'd gone in here. This was where it was going to end. So I decided instead of pushing it in here and keeping the wall there, I moved the wall out the front, and I think it's got a pretty cool feel. And by the way, this is not finished. We got to do some stuff to this. It's got a lot of character, I think. I think it really does look quite good. Just with the fact that a lot of this shape was not meant to be here. This wasn't meant to be a house inside here. It's just turned out to have the shape, and we'll stick with it. We'll try and figure out how we can get that to be an interesting looking house. And also, I actually made that jump. I didn't think that was a makeable jump. But yeah, just a few things like that. Just trying to work on this area slowly and get this to work its way in. Now, this bridge, as we go over the top here, look at that. We've got a nice little view up of the market area. I probably could end up looking out this way. You'll see that there. I want to have some shops around here. So this will make this view very narrow. And it's kind of cool because we'll just be able to see the ship. And then I'll have a pillar blocking your way, which would be a really, really cool shot. And then over here as well, this is just me considering different angles. As we're coming up these stairs, picture this look over here. So you walk up this way, You're seeing what eventually will have a building over here. I'm hoping we'll have a little bit of a roof to it, a little bit of a mini tower coming out of it. And then as you walk over here, you'll see the palace, or whatever we do, the castle we eventually do, through this gap over here, hopefully. And as you walk up here, you'll just see it all kind of appear in front of you. I hope. We don't know. We don't know how it's going to turn out, but that's my thought. And I think just planning ahead with these sorts of things is very important. So for today's episode, what I'm hoping to do is to get this bridge area here kind of sorted. If not, we'll get this area here kind of planned out. But I really think the bridge would look really good just to keep this flow on here, there, keep it going, and try that out. I think that'd be really, really cool. And before I go any further, I just want to quickly give a quick bit of closure to people who have been asking this, because this comment's been asked many times, and I guess I kind of answered it, but to confirm. These houses here, you guys are asking me about, Jansey, are you going to do these interiors? Are they ever going to get done? Yes, they will. I think I've mentioned it on a video before, but if not, here it is again. These are getting done in streams. We've actually started in a stream earlier today, fixing these things up. Busy doing the interiors. You can see now I've got just the walls and stuff. We're going to do beds. We're going to do bedrooms. We're going to do cool things like that. Just currently, it's a slow process where we add these things in, but it's no rush. We'll get to them eventually, and I think the story will be important for us to keep doing these. So we have got that there. Now, before I get going on the bridge stuff, I want to get some things done there. I'm going to go do a quick flyover so you guys can tell what this place is looking like. The immensity of this, because it's every episode we're getting larger and larger in this area. So let's just do this nice slow flyover there. Look at that. Really, really looking good. I'm loving the look of that. And actually, also, I didn't mention, this tower has got a few very different weird things on it. And I think what I'll do is I'll leave that. I'll mention that we have done some crazy things on it. Have a look at it. Maybe have a look at the photos on Twitter, and you can see what it looked like originally and what I've done to it. But what we're going to do now is we're going to get to that bridge. There you go. You have yourself a bridge. This has taken me quite some time, by the way. But I think it is looking pretty good. And I'll quickly explain to you what I've done to go over it. I know this is like a big jump. All of a sudden, we've got a huge bridge, overly decorated. But I thought, you know what? I kind of needed every little piece to fit together to make sure they all fitted together. And I thought this was probably the best thing. And I'll show you exactly what I've done here. So let's just quickly get the feeling for it. Make sure we know we've got this working for us as we walk through here. So we go up here, look out this way, shop over there. Then right over here, we see the bridge looking like that. Looking pretty good, actually. I was battling to get a good curve to this. But what I ended up doing was going a bit more, because I was originally thinking a perfect circle, if that makes sense, a perfect semicircle. But I decided to do this where I went like that. I'm sure you can just kind of work the blocks out. And that seemed to work very, very well for me. And I'm very happy with the way that turned out there. And it's looking pretty good. In fact, just realized right over there, I'm missing stuff. But it's the whole idea of this. Imagine walking through here, going up the other side. We'll probably end up putting a few stairs over here, which is what I was thinking. And that will be kind of interesting because we can go probably about that height there. Maybe at the highest before it just feels a bit too cramped. So I think around that height there, we'll play around with that a little bit just to see what feels the best. But I'm pretty sure that's what we'll go with. Walk up that way. And then over here, I'm actually not too sure what we're going to be doing. It all depends on what shape we have on this side, on that side. But I think the next stage with this build, well, with the whole city, is if we stand back here, you can see we'll have this part over here. We could carry on with that, but I don't want to do that. We could carry on over here, just putting in a few little things, which we will be doing. So we'll probably just touch on those two areas. And then the next spot that I want to go onto would be over here. And this is where our decision making and where we're going to be planning out the rest of this place becomes very, very important. Because as soon as we get here, we can either carry on straight, we can curve, but that will dictate which direction this path here goes, where our palace is going. A lot of big things do happen once we do this road. So that is something I have to really think about, and I'm considering very, very much to go out this way. Let me show you. I'm considering quite a bit whether or not I should just be digging out this area right around here. So that is where we're at, digging out that area there and planning out where we want the actual palace to be. And I'm guessing, if I had to guess, it'll be somewhere out this distance here, which looks kind of cool. In fact, maybe we should consider. I've just got video settings. Why am I on render distance 13? Let's go 16. 16 is a good render distance. We'll go out this way. And I want to just see if we can render in the ship. And that over there's the last tower. I'm happy not to render the fort or the tower in on that side. Let's just have a look there. If it's rendering in that tower, it most probably is rendering in the ship. And I have messed up a little bit here. But that's all right. We'll work that out. There we go. Right, so have a look there. Yes. So picture this. Standing in the palace, you stand up this way, maybe even a little bit higher, and you look out, you can see the ship over there. And by the way, this would be the beginning of the palace. I'd imagine the center of it will be somewhere around that tree, maybe even a little bit further, and it would go out to about there. Because I really want it to be monstrous. I want it to be insanely huge. But looking out that way, yeah, they'll look really good. You can see the whole market area over here. You can see this the big, whatever you call it, going over that way, promenade, I don't know, something like that. But I think that'll work really, really good. And that's all part of the planning stage of this. And of course, it all depends on how we do piece by piece and how that piece over there plans out. But we'll get to that eventually. So here's something that I do want to touch on this part here, and also to do with this stuff here, is the lighting. We haven't got any of the lighting sorted out. So coming in here, you can see we've got this. We don't want that. We don't want that. Maybe we do for a little bit, actually. Okay, that's fine. Just so we don't get things spawning. But that's something we have to touch on. And the other thing is this roof over here. And by the way, you might notice I've done some interesting things here. I was just playing around with some ideas, seeing what we could do to make this part, the floor, look a bit more interesting. In fact, that's the only reason I've done these, is for the floor and for under here. Considering that underneath the bridge, we don't want it to be boring. It's easy enough to forget about this sort of thing and concentrate on just the side profile, because that looks pretty cool. That's the big eye-catching thing. How does this look on the side here, and how does it fit together with the building? But those smaller details, of course, getting in those little pieces do help quite a bit. So what I'm going to do now is, I think it's important that we start considering the lighting, and we start just finishing up these smaller bits. I want to get those done, so probably those, and then we can get going on some of the lighting. And in fact, now would really be a good time, but I don't have my stuff on me. There's the roof, looking pretty good, I think. We've just done some things to the ceiling, and I've also put some lights in here. It's actually looking pretty cool at night. Hopefully we'll be able to see that sometime soon. I want to show you guys what this place is looking like at night. And also I've put in a light over here. So what I want to do right now is I want to just go ahead and start with the smaller details on the outside of this building. We've got obviously the finer details of this shape over here, but adding the smaller details around the whole area is going to be the big difference. For instance, street lamps. As we did a few episodes ago, the barrels, the wheelbarrows, things like that. Those sort of details, not necessarily the finer details in building. I'm talking about just the small things that kind of come to mind. And one of those is, of course, the street lamps. And I want to try something out here, because this street lamp we've got over here, in fact, we might try two different things. If I have... No, I don't have any stairs on me. We might I was going to say we could try the squiggle design, but it looks like we won't have that option right now. But I want to try this with the acacia, which is kind of strange because we didn't use the acacia to pull off the last street lamp, but it might work very well for just a similar looking thing, but with a completely different palette, I guess. That could be the way of thinking of it. And if this works, that would be a really, really great thing. Although this is it seems like it's gonna be too low, yeah. Although, yeah, look at this. All right, so this is an issue. That was where I was expecting it to go, and I thought it would look good, but that just blocks our view. That's not looking very good at all. But it's always worth a go just to try it out and see how it looks. So that is not going to work. So other places we could put it, of course, we could do it across there, which wouldn't help. Around here, though, that is a thought, although it might look a bit weird. And the other option, and this is the final one, and the only one that I think would work, would be right over here. And I think if we are going to do this, our best bet for that would be to put in a street lamp just like this one. So we'll keep the same design throughout the city. In fact, a little bit of a squiggle like that could do a fairly decent job of showing a bit more of this area, but I think it's just not worth it. So doing something there like that, it'll come out to about there. You won't hide that window over there. You won't hide this completely, and I think it'll just work very, very well. Now, while we're getting this done, I thought it would be a good time just to remind new people to the channel, because there's always a bunch of new people. And by the way, guys, anybody who's been here for a while, welcome. Everyone who's brand new here, welcome. It's really, really cool to see people joining our series throughout the whole series. And I thought I'd just quickly update people who aren't aware that we do have a Discord server. If you guys do want to join our Discord server, there's a link down below. And that's just really, really useful if you guys want the notifications for when we put videos up and stuff like that. It's just a fairly useful thing for that. And I thought I'd just quickly remind people of that, because if you haven't watched the episodes where I say that, you just never know. I don't need 2 stacks of those. What I do need, though, are those, and I think that is it. I'm pretty sure that's it to be able to do this thing here. But yeah, as I say, we've got a Discord server, and with the Discord server, it's pretty cool. We've got a whole bunch of different places you can post your builds if you want to show off your builds. Maybe you can get some tips for them. Maybe you just think you've got a cool build and you just want to show it off. That's completely fine, and that's available in the Discord server. So if ever anyone does want to join the community of people there is the link in the description, and it's always just good to say it for people who might not know. Let's see how well I remember this off by heart. Okay, so you know when you've created a design so many times and it's your own, you feel like you know it. I feel like I've done this too short, but I'm doing it anyway. I just did cheat a little bit there. I'm not gonna lie. Here we go. We need to get those in there. I cheated by looking at what I did in the crossbeam there, and it was this. It was. Man, I'm struggling to speak. Considering I've spoken all day, I really should be completely warmed up, ready to keep speaking, but you know what? That's not the case. There we go. We'll do that there, and this light has taken me so much less time this time compared to the last time I did it, just purely because I've done it so many times. And we will probably do this light many, many more times. So let's get that in there. And before I forget, the one thing I always forget about this is up the top here, I like to put in one of those and some of these around the edges, which will go around there. Put in one of these around here. And I think this sort of stuff, by the way, the lamppost, potentially some tables down the bottom, some benches, those will do really, really well. Besides that, sorry, we'll also put in some of those flower boxes, which I think we might try a new design up here as well for. Yeah, that'll work. That'll do all right. I can't help but think there's something important that I'm missing on this thing, but we'll figure it out sooner or later. There, and the light itself. Now that definitely does not clash together, and when we put this in here as well with those, this lamp should be completely done. And if you guys ever do wonder how, like, this is just a thing, a question from streams that I get asked, and another answer to people in YouTube comments. With these ideas, like, how do we come up with them? It takes a lot more time than you might expect, by the way. So that is what happens. How do you gather resources quick? It takes a long time to gather resources. You guys just might not notice it, but like, for instance, a design like that takes a lot longer than just what I've done there. It takes a lot longer than 10 times what I've done there. Yeah, what I've just done there. I like to practice it, get it right, get it looking good, and I know what's going wrong with this. I knew there was something weird. From the start, there was something odd looking about this, and it's because I've used oak, and I have not used this over here, so the acacia. There we go. That should look way better now. There we go. Wonderful. Okay, good. So that works there. And as I say, that's just a little bit of a thing into what we do and how it takes a lot longer in terms of time. For instance, this whole building there, the tower and that there, that collectively took me well over 10 hours, which sounds like a crazy amount of time to spend on it, and it really is. I'm just really over the top with a lot of things, and that's why it does take a lot longer, but we can get some really cool looking things. I think the product in the end is well worth it. And I forgot, I did say I would show you guys what I've done here. And what I decided to do was take out some chunks, because this was originally very straight. I decided to take out some chunks there and do it randomly, so it looks a little bit more interesting. And I think that does look a little bit more interesting. And that brings a lot of different shapes to this build, and it makes it a lot more lookable, like a lot more viewable and interesting to just stop and try and work out what's going on. And when you work out that really nothing and everything is going on this build, I think it starts to show that I have just gone crazy with it. But I think it looks pretty good from afar, and also from this distance over here, I had to make sure that the roof looked good and this tower looks good over here. And I think in the end, that works very, very well. Sticking this up a little bit, putting that on there, I think works fantastically. Here we are. Look at that. That is looking so, so good. I'm loving obviously the sky color is absolutely beautiful, but just walking through the city at night is starting to look really good here. The lights around here, the lights around this way actually is something we don't get to see very often. And I say it every time, but it is a pity that is the way Minecraft currently is, but hopefully one day we'll have the mob switch in here and not have to worry about mobs and be able to walk around this place at night without worrying about stuff getting blown up. I think that's the most important thing. But this is looking pretty good over here. The tea shop, the lights coming from there, the lights coming from this direction. Ignore the bed, just everything. Oh man, it's starting to pull together really, really well. 2 episodes ago, by the way, I spoke about this over here maybe being a problem, having that like that, and it certainly is. So we'll get to that eventually. Do I have anything on me to fix that up? No, we'll fix it up at a later stage. I could just do this, do something like that there, like that. But look at that. Overall, I think a successful build today, and I think overall this area is turning out very, very well. So that'll do it for today's episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. And also, if you've got any feedback or anything on what we've done or anything at all, leave it down in the comment section. I'd love to check up with it. There's some really, really great suggestions that have been coming through here, and I love to hear them and implement them in here. So thank you very, very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.